guys, welcome back to my channel, The Black Accountant. It's your boy Mo, and if you haven't already done so, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments of any kind of content you want to see going forward, and most importantly, don't forget to turn on notification bells once you've subscribed. So, first and foremost, I think I'm really liking the setting. I like the way it looks, so I'm probably going to film a lot more videos just from my living room instead. Plus, it kind of gives me a little bit of a balance between like my regular 9 to 5 job, because I do that in my room, and just something a little bit different outside, fresh air. I also had to make sure to include the mic right here so like it's a professional microphone. But yeah, so today's video is about minimizing yourself, and I see this to be a particular theme a lot in people who like to self-pity a lot as well. And if you're one of those types of people and you have no interest in self-improvement, you like to feel sorry for yourself, you're in that vibe, that mindset, and you want to continue being in that mindset, this is not the video for you. Please click off now. I'm not interested in that. A lot of people are not interested in that. And yeah, just move on. But what does it mean to minimize yourself? Minimizing yourself is essentially when you make yourself very small, and small as in putting not only your needs on a back burner, but also making sure you don't ruffle any feathers or make any kind of waves within people so that you don't get noticed, don't get into any trouble, and don't particularly have any disagreements. You want to be an agreeable person that gets along with everybody. And if you know people or the nature of people, you can never please everyone. That's not possible, and I wish this is something a lot of people pleasers knew. And even if they do know it, I wish they were able to act on it. So, hopefully this is something that kind of gets that ball rolling a little bit. But in particular, I really do believe that minimizing yourself is probably one of the most selfish things that you could do. Which is kind of counterintuitive to a lot of people who do this, who believe that they're kind of staying out of people's way. Because you may be staying out of people's way in the obvious way, but you don't see how the repercussions of that kind of affect not only you in the long run, but people around you. So I'm going to be talking about that a little bit. So, number one, minimizing yourself it hurts you, whoever it is that's minimizing themselves, by never really acting out your personality. You're kind of playing a role on a very consistent basis to move along in life, to pass along in life. You're trying to minimize any kind of risk that you have, or undertaking any risk of upsetting anyone in case of getting into any kind of altercation or disagreement. And it's okay to employ that kind of strategy once in a while, especially if you just don't feel like fighting. But after a while, when you do that on a consistent basis, it's the same thing as cowardice, because you're never stating your opinions. You never have a solid say in anything that you do. And you always feel some kind of way about things. And this kind of ties back to that previous video that I did about when does consideration become cowardice. A lot of times, I think kindness becomes attributed to weakness because it's a false kindness. And I had kind of touched on that as well, because it's not actually kindness from the sake of your heart because you want to be kind. It's kindness for the sake of self-preservation, in the sense of, I'm going to forsake my rights or forsake my myself in a way so that I don't end up disagreeing or fighting with anybody. When in reality, that just leaves you with nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's selfless in a dumb way. I don't know how to better put that. And I think it's selfish because when you don't take on your own burden, and when you don't act within yourself, you kind of force everybody else around you to carry that burden for you. So generally speaking, let's say you're somebody in a family, or let's say you're somebody in a friend group, or in an office or something, and you're that kind person where you never stand up for yourself. You kind of force other people to either have to walk over you or have to carry the burden of protecting you or standing up for you. And both of those things kind of suck, because if somebody has to carry your weight for you, you're either intentionally or unintentionally putting that weight on somebody else. So now they have to worry about you as well as themselves. Now, they also have to worry about you in the sense of having to step over you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're somebody that always puts yourself on the back burner, like, hey, I'm fine, I don't want to have. Let me give you some examples actually. We can go back to the thermostat example, I think, from the consideration example from the consideration video. You know, where there's a friend group and then people want different temperatures of heat, and then somebody says like, okay, I don't want to disturb anybody, I don't want to be that one odd man out, and I don't want to upset anybody, therefore I'm going to agree with what everybody else says. Here, let's say you have somebody that's a little bit empathetic or can read through your vibe, or can, I guess that's a kind of a vague way of saying that as well. Somebody who can see through the fact that you actually are not comfortable with that. Now, you're leaving them with the choice of, do I have to stick up for you or ignore this? And then, like, basically, I have to carry the weight of carrying your argument or carrying your battle for you, or do I ignore it and now I have a guilty conscience because I know about this person, or I know what they have, and I didn't say anything about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a sucky predicament, and there's this theory that within any kind of dynamic, if one portion of somebody doesn't carry their weight, then it automatically gets shifted to somebody else that's going to assume that role. Let's talk about within a dysfunctional household, generally speaking. If a father isn't doing their fatherly duty, that duty is going to be assumed by the next person over, who doesn't see that that responsibility being carried on. Same thing for a mother who's not necessarily doing her part either. Then that role automatically gets assumed by somebody else. And these are things that, like, dynamics that shift on a consistent basis. And it all stems back to self-preservation, of people being too scared to stand up for themselves or too scared to fight. And honestly, in my opinion, I think if you never stand up for yourself, you're the most likely type of person to look back on your life and have the most regrets, because yes, there might be disagreements, and yes, there might be temporary discomfort, but those discomforts are so minor and so insignificant in the scheme of things when they're just done in the moment, when they're confronted in the moment, that they're always worth doing. And I think when you don't tackle these kind of things and you're only interested in self-preservation, it's gonna suck really bad for your kids, because they're never gonna have an example of somebody who stands up. And yes, you can see that in school, and yes, you can see it from wherever else, but generally speaking, for kids, it starts in the home. It starts from the family. Those are the two role models, a mother or a father or both. Those are the people you emulate. These are the people that children look at and look up to and value the most before anybody else. So even if you don't think you have an impact, your kids are always watching you, and then they emulate you, whether that's consciously or subconsciously, because you're their example of how to operate in the world. So if you're always just kind of interested in self-preservation, you don't really stick up for your kids when it matters. Even if you are empathetic, like you listen to their problems, you listen to what they have to say, but you never stand up for them, that's a problem. Because you're so interested in preserving yourself that you don't step out of your element to preserve or take care of your kids. That's number one. Number two, if they see you never really stand up for yourself or take care of yourself, that's what they're going to assume they need to do as well. So then they take on that same thing of, I need to minimize myself to get through life, instead of let me stand up for myself and take or claim what's mine as well. And that's just obviously my opinion, and something that I've inferred from talking to so many people who have had issues at home, and a lot of people who do these types of things. And oftentimes they tend to be those friends within a friend capacity, the ones who think, oh, I'm so nice, I'm kind to everybody, but nobody pays attention to me, or people ignore me in group chats, or I check in on everybody, but nobody checks in on me. You're most likely that friend who people are cool with because you're cool with them, but you never have a relationship on a deeper level because A, you're too polite to them, and um, being too polite within a friend group makes somebody a stranger. You know what I'm saying? You don't actually let them in. You don't show them how you really are. You don't interact in a normal way that you would. You interact with people like you would in an office. And that doesn't actually make you a genuine friend to somebody. That actually lets people trust you a little bit less, in the sense that you're being too guarded around them. And then also, a lot of times you tend to be somebody that doesn't take action. So you always kind of expect other people to carry the weight of an entire conversation. Like, let's say, for example, I'm talking to somebody that doesn't really have many friends. And they're like a nice person and everything, but it's hard to carry the conversation because whenever you ask engaging questions, you share from your experience, that person gives back very minimal response. Like, let's say, oh yeah, I'm into X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm into hip hop music, Pokemon, whatever yeah. What are you into? Yeah, I'm kind of into I'm into like some TV shows and Netflix and stuff. Oh, okay, what kind of shows? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I have to keep dragging answers out of you instead of you kind of responding with, this is what I'm interested in. This is how I am. This is things about me. Like, you're not sharing unless somebody's asking you in detailed questions. Like, you kind of are turning the conversation into an interviewer and an interviewee. And that sucks after a while because you don't want to be friends with somebody that you have to always carry the entire weight of keeping a conversation engaged. And that's just facts right there. So that's another thing. And it's not enough to feel bad or feel guilty, even if you acknowledge these things and you know these things about yourself and you're interested in self-preservation. You have to step out of your element and be uncomfortable, just like other people have to do as well, because when you don't carry your weight, like I said, that's how it translates or permeates further into other people's lives and your own life down the line. So in conclusion, really, it's not that you're just nice and nobody cares. It's that you're nice for the wrong reasons. It's not that people don't care about you or anything along those lines. You don't care about you. So why are you expecting other people to care about you? Just a little thing, something to think about. And this is a topic that kind of permeates in my mind. Most of the things I talk about on this channel are just from experience. So it's like either something I had to go through and figure out for myself, or something that I've seen in other people around me. And now I recognize those patterns so easily within people that people are like, oh yeah, you can, how come you're able to see this so well? You just observe. Just observe people once. You know what I'm saying? Get out of the whole woe is me mentality and look at people, look at other people, and you'll see these things. It's so common. It's so easy to identify. Because when you're not so absorbed in the pity party, a lot of life becomes easier. Just more things to think about. So that's all I had for this video. Let me know in the comments of what your thoughts are on this. Do you have more to share? I'd love to kind of like maybe do a live on this and talk about it. I do go live occasionally on Wisdom. I think I plugged that out before, but it's a really dope thing where it's similar to Clubhouse in the sense that somebody speaks live, they bring on guests if they want to. The guests volunteer if they want to come on. It can be anywhere from 5 minutes to, I believe, an hour of speaking. And there's a lot of really cool different topics that people touch on, and there's like a lot of nuanced conversations as well that you don't generally see talked about. So I figured it was something kind of cool. So I might do that on a live over there. If that's something that you're interested in, leave it in a comment or DM me. I might do that sometime later this month or sometime later this year. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.